Mr. Chairman, welcome to the committee. I have a couple of questions related to the National Voter Registration Act and Section 7, because as you know, and we've been discussing that this morning, that it requires states to provide assistance to voters in public agencies when they are there for other benefits to register to vote. And a study produced by Acorn and Project Vote, called Unequal Access, Neglecting the National Voter Registration Act 1995 to 2007, showed that voter registrations generated from public assistance agencies nationwide have declined 79% between 1995 and 2007, when the National Voter Registration Act was first implemented, and 2005 and 2006. Here are my concerns. In your written statement, you assert that since 2006, the voting section filed lawsuits containing NVRA claims in Indiana, Maine, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Cibola County, New Mexico. And it's my understanding that 4 of the 5 lawsuits were filed not to enhance voter registration opportunities, but instead to force states to conduct massive purges of their registration lists under Section 8 of the NVRA. Is this correct?
Congresswoman, we have filed 10 lawsuits under the NVRA during this administration. 5 of them included allegations that states were improperly removing voters from the polls, and 2 of them were under Section 7. I should also add, if I could briefly, that in 2007 we sent 18 letters to different states regarding their compliance or lack of compliance with Section 7 of the NVRA, and it's my understanding that at least 2 of those states have already begun the process of drafting legislation.
Okay, but excuse me, the purpose of Section 7 is not to ensure that states are purging voters, but to ensure that they're registering voters. So why would half the lawsuits that you filed deal with the purging of voters?
Well, Congresswoman, we filed 2 lawsuits under Section 7 during this administration. We're prosecuting one of them, and in 2007 we sent out 18 letters.
But are you also pursuing states to ensure that they purge voters that you don't believe belong on the rolls?
We enforce all of the provisions of the NVRA.
I realize that, but are you more aggressively pursuing states to encourage them to purge voters rather than pursuing Section 7, which ensures the registration of voters? I would think that it would be more important for the department to be ensuring that we have more qualified registered voters on the rolls, as opposed to making sure that we aggressively purge voters when much of that purging in recent years has shown to be overly aggressive and purged voters who were valid and belonged on the rolls.
Congresswoman, we're enforcing both Section 7 and Section 8.
I realize that, but are you more aggressive? I mean, I think just looking at the percentage of lawsuits that you're pursuing, the numbers bear out. If you're only pursuing 2 Section 7 lawsuits and the others relate to purging of voters from the rolls, then I think one could logically conclude that you are more aggressively going after states to ensure that they purge. Is that the case?
With respect, Congresswoman, I would disagree with that characterization, because 5 of the 8 Section 8 lawsuits that we've brought do include allegations that the jurisdictions were improperly removing voters.
How do you explain a 79% decrease in the number of registered voters that were added to the rolls, if you have been aggressively ensuring that Section 7 is enforced?
Congresswoman, I am aware of that study, and that's part of the reason why we sent out 18 letters in 2007 to gather information regarding states.
Well, good. I'm glad you raised those 18 letters. When we're talking about the 18 states that you did send letters to, that was just a few months ago on August 30th, 2007. You began that inquiry, and you sent letters to Vermont, Alaska, Alabama, Arizona, Connecticut, Hawaii, Iowa, Illinois, Massachusetts, Maine, Michigan, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, New York, Pennsylvania, Utah, and South Carolina. Now, Florida, Texas, and Virginia also ranked in the bottom 10, and they did not receive letters. So can you answer why you chose not to send letters to Florida, Texas, and Virginia, and if not, then why have you failed to take measures to ensure that all of, including the worst offenders of Section 7 violations, were included in your pursuit?
Congresswoman, with respect to the letters that we sent out, we did not send out letters to every state. Because
you sent out 18. Why not 21?
With respect to some states, Congresswoman, we already had and continue to have substantial information, and so there's simply no need to
Well, why not? Why not Florida, for example? I'm a little partial to Florida, as you might imagine, where we specifically have had egregious violations of purging voters from the rolls, the use of lists that were inappropriately used, of felons who turned out not to be felons. Why have you excluded Florida and not pursued Florida and sent them a letter? We're in the bottom 10.
Congresswoman, I don't know the answer to that, and with respect, it would be inappropriate for me to comment
Mr. Chairman,
on.
if you could ask the witness to answer that question specifically and include it in the information that you asked, that the chairman of the subcommittee asked for in the next 2 weeks, I would appreciate it.
You heard her request?
I will take that back to the department, but I should add that the department cannot get into,
The department
closing our deliberative process and determining where we're.
They can certainly tell us why they chose to exclude one state that was in the bottom 10 and had among the most egregious violations of Section 7. I don't think that's something that you're not permitted to disclose.
I'll be happy to take that back to the department.
Thank you very much.